Brand new tape into the Fox News channel, and you are about to see it for the first time. Former President Clinton was campaigning in California today and had what some people are describing as a testy exchange with a reporter at station KGO. They were talking about some lawsuits surrounding this Saturday's Democratic caucuses in Nevada. Let's take a look.
Get on your television station and say, I don't care about the home mortgage crisis. All I care about is making sure that some voters have it easier than others, and that when they do vote, when it's already easier for them, their vote should count 5 times as much as others. That is your position. If you want to take that position, get on the television and take it. Don't be accusatory with me. I had nothing to do with this lawsuit. Some people in Nevada are old-fashioned. They think the rules should be the same for everybody, and everybody's vote should count the same. I had nothing to do with that lawsuit, and you know it.
Now, is that really a Chris Wallace moment, Steve McMahon? I mean, I just think he forcefully answered a question.
That's kind of what I think too. I'm out here in Nevada, and of course, the great whodunit is who filed the lawsuit. Well, the people who filed the lawsuit's names are right on the petition. I know there's some people who suspect that there was some nefarious motive and some other people behind it, but until there's some proof, I don't think it's fair.
Meanwhile, majority of polls have Mike Huckabee trailing John McCain in South Carolina, and with no time to spare, the claws have come out today. Huckabee advisor is quoted as saying, "I think the free pass for McCain is over. The next few days in South Carolina will be rough and tumble." End of quote. We now continue with our panel. Tony Blankley, is it going to be, is Mike Huckabee going to lose religion? And
that sure sounds like my friend Ed Rollins talking more than Huckabee. Look, I think Huckabee understands he probably spent too much time in Michigan, and he's lost a couple of extra days that he needs, and he understands that he's got to do pretty well. I don't know that he has to win, but he's got to get within 5 points of McCain. So I suspect they're going to be a bit more aggressive. But Huckabee, every time his people move him up to the edge of biting, he pulls back. And I bet he's going to pull back and not bite too hard, but campaign more aggressively.
Hey, Amanda, you see it that way? I mean, this is not Mike Huckabee. I thought was running a very positive campaign. That certainly helped him in Iowa. Is he going to turn tide here and do something else? That could hurt him.
Well, I think that'll be up to Ed Rollins. But I think the story to pay attention to in this race Romney's going to pull off in Nevada. That's a state that has much more delegates than South Carolina, unless, of course, they get reinstated by the RNC later. Right. And that's going to pump Mitt Romney up in the delegate count if it goes into a contested convention. I
talked to Rudy Giuliani earlier today from my radio show. We'll play the whole interview later tonight. But I asked him about how he's going to churches, talking about religion, talking about finding God. Is this a different Rudy Giuliani? Let's take a listen.
Well, I would talk about, in an appropriate way, my belief in God, people's reliance on God. It's not something I'm making a major part of my campaign, but it is something that does inform me, and it has been part of my life, and I think it isn't correct that I'm overdoing it in any way that I haven't done in the past.
Tony Blankley pandering to the right wing to get the conservative Florida vote, suddenly talking about religion?
Pandering's a little strong, but I agree he doesn't normally talk a lot about his faith. But the truth is that religion has been put front and center into this campaign on both sides. Hillary talks about her faith, Obama talks about his faith, and there's no reason why Giuliani shouldn't. So I don't think it's pandering.
Let's look at the church of Barack Obama. We've had his pastor, Jeremiah Wright, trying to defend what he calls the black value system. Washington Post columnist Richard Cohn, hardly a right-winger, by the way, he wrote a piece about an award that was given. This is what he said. Barack Obama is a member of Chicago's Trinity United Church of Christ, its minister, and Obama's spiritual advisor, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Jr. In 1982, they launched Trumpet News Magazine. Wright's daughter served as publisher and executive editor. Anyway, every year they make awards in various categories. Last year it gave the Dr. Jeremiah Wright Trumpeter Award to a man, quote, he said, truly epitomizes greatness. The man is Louis Farrakhan. Steve, so that's Barack Obama's pastor praising the anti-Semite and the racist Louis Farrakhan. Is that an issue that we should care about in this campaign?
Listen, Sean, I'm a member of the Catholic Church, and I'd hate to be held accountable for everything that appears in Catholic publications.
That's not the same thing. If he's going to praise an anti-Semite and a racist who refers to Judaism as a gutter religion, you don't think Barack should be asked about that?
He was asked about it, and he said that he deplores anti-Semitism, he deplores racism, he's condemned the anti-Semitic remarks of Louis Farrakhan. What else do you want him to do? He's a member of the church. And like I said, you know, we're all members of church, or a lot of us are members of churches, and they don't represent me in everything that they write or publish or positions they take.
Let me go to Tony Blankley here, because I want to stay on this issue, because the issue of race now has come up a lot in the campaign here, and every election we seem to have the race card plate. 98, the Missouri radio ad. If you elect a Republican, crosses will burn. The James Byrd ad. For example, we have Hillary Clinton, Andrew Young, and John Lewis in a radio ad. Let's remind people it was scaring voters into believing that if a Republican was elected, dogs and fire hoses would come out. If you remember this ad.
If you think fighting of dogs and water hoses in the 60s was bad, imagine if we sit idly by and let the right-wing Republicans take control of the Fulton County Commission.
Unless you want them to turn back the clock on equal rights and human rights and economic opportunity for all of us, vote for John Eves as Fulton County Chairman.
Your very life may depend on that.
How can the Democrats get away with this every election?
Because the media refuses to cover it. They've been doing this. This is a standard method, these inflammatory racial ads done on urban radio stations to try to maximize the black vote. And it's race. These ads are racist. They're intended to be racist. And it is shocking, but the mainstream media refuses